Good evening, everyone. I'm Atira Minuddin, and on today's episode of Fireside Chat, we will be speaking on Syria Still Under Fire, where 11 years since protesters in Syria first demonstrated against the four-decade rule of the Assad dynasty, hundreds of thousands of Syrians have been killed, and some 12 million people, believed to be more than the half of the country's pre-war population, have been displaced. The country has descended into an ever more complex civil war where one side promotes theocracy and the other pushes for a more democratic and pluralistic state. On top of regional powers advancing their geopolitical interests on Syrian grounds. There has been more than a decade of instability in Syria and likely more to come. So, how has the peace talks been? Will there be a regime change or remain the same? What are the hopes and expectations of the Syrian people? That is what we will discuss today with Musa Muhammad Yusuf from Higher Capillary Associations and Muhammad Abdul Latif from ETSA Relief. Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna kick off the conversation so the war has been going on for 11 years, and we want to know, are there any signs of it ending soon?
Yeah, thank you, Atira, for this very kind interview. First of all, I would like to thank all Malaysian people for their generous participation in the Syrian crisis. In different cycles, in different types of humanitarian aid, Alhamdulillah, until now we achieved many goals with these Malaysian NGOs. Regarding the crisis in Syria, when we are talking about the political issues, we are facing now very hard discussions in terms of the future of Syria between the Western camp and the Eastern camp, which is represented by Russian and China forces. Now, currently, the Syrian land is divided into three pieces. Actually, it is geographical divided, but not existent in terms of the political solution. The first land is controlled by Assad regime, and which is supported by the Iranian and Russian troops. The second area is controlled by the Kurdish militia, which is supported by the US as well. And the last area is controlled by Syrian opposition and supported by Turkey. This is the current situation in Syria. For the future solutions, we may face different perspectives between the, as I mentioned, Western and Eastern camps.
Now that you mentioned about the Russia and all that, so the United Nations estimate the cost of rebuilding the country were about like 250 billion US dollar. So Russia wants the US to pay, but the US refused because there's no meaningful political transition. So in your opinion, who should foot the bill?
Yeah, actually, this is very complicated. To make it simple, Russia is shelling from time to time currently. In the past, from 2015 to 2020, they have very heavy shelling on Aleppo, on Hama, on Homs, and on Idlib, which affected the very high population in the area and resulted in a very huge displacement movement. At that time, all the surrounded areas were moved to Idlib and north of Aleppo, which affected a humanitarian crisis in that areas. On the other hand, when we are talking about the bill of the crisis, yeah, for sure, Russian is the main responsible for this. But when we are talking about the maybe the reconstruction which is demanded by Russia, the idea of this was refused by Europe Union and the US. They are talking about when we want to make reconstruction, a political solution should be made before. We cannot reconstruct what Russia has destroyed by our money, and Russia is the beneficiary from this. This is very important. Russia, from time to time, yeah, make very heavy political conversations with the West in terms of who will build this. They are talking about Russian companies, but for sure the European Union and the US will not afford this easily.
What about you, Musa? Who do you feel should foot the bill?
Yeah, thank you very much for having us here. And Brother Muhammad has done all the need thanks for you. In my opinion, rebuilding Syria, we can talk about rebuilding Syria after the war, not in the war. Because still in the war, and still there are some, I agreed with Muhammad what he said about there are some political processes that must be done before talking about rebuilding Syria, which is all the outsider players should be outside Syria, not in Syria, and also to guarantee the rights of all the displaced and refugees people to come back to their countries. We have to guarantee these two issues before we talk about rebuilding Syria. And when we say rebuilding Syria, who should pay the bill? I would rather to say who should invest, because the Russia and Iran and many other international players inside Syria, they only seek for their interest in Syria. When we say they pay, charity organizations can pay for that. But we cannot say about these countries. We can say who should invest in Syria and rebuild Syria again. I suppose that every international player has interfered in this in Syria, either Iran, Russia, America. They have all to rebuild Syria again, of course.
And previously, we know that the U.S. troops were there, and the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, retrieved some of the troops. But however, we want to know how many troops are still there in the country.
Still there is the Russian and Iranian still in the center of Syria with the regime areas, and the regime areas, by the way, control almost 63% of area of Syrian areas, and these areas controlled by regime, also some military bases or military site of Russia and Iran as well. We have in the northern east, we have also Syrian Democratic Forces supported by America. They control almost 26% of the areas in northwestern and northeastern Syria. We have also the north western areas where oppositions of Syrians are over there controlling almost 11% of the Syrian areas. So as a total, you can see how different players are in even international or national areas. International players or national players are in these areas. So I think you asked the first question to Mr. Muhammad, whether the war has ending or not. I would say there are some symptoms need to be clear before we say there is a clear ending or no. As for my opinion, the war will end sooner or later. The war will end, but there are no any symptoms of ending soon. I've heard about days ago there is a agreement done by Russia and Syria that forced Russia to stay in Syria for almost more than 30 years. So there are no any symptoms that support the idea of ending the war as soon as possible.
Although that different part of Syria, different people are controlling it, but Bashar al-Assad has essentially solidified his position as president in last year's election in May 2021. So he will continue to rule for 7 more years. What is your take on this, Muhammad?
Actually, the elections in Syria are very like a comedian tragedy story.
Why is that?
Yeah. Look, Syria was ruled since 40 years, 40 something years, by Assad regime, from the father to the son. When the Hafiz Assad was died, Bashar Assad came like a kingdom. Syrian is not kingdom. Syria is a republic state, was developing and was practicing democracy since 50s, since 40s. What happened in that time that we are converting to a dictatorship rule from the father to the son since 1980s until now. Syria is suffering from the this kind of family ruling model. It is not that easy. If you can imagine that we have more than 20 security devices compared to 5 universities. It is not comparable. On the other hand, we believe that Bashar Assad will maybe remain for a while, but for sure it is not democracy. It is not full of human rights. The idea of the people why they came against Assad will still remain on the rule of Assad. That's why the Geneva one insisted on replacing Assad and to make interim committee and to rebuild the constitution after that. That's what the opposition is demanding from the next period. For sure, Assad and his supporters, Iran and Russia, will continue refusing that until maybe another political solution or another pressure on the regime came out.
I see. And about you, what do you think about it?
Without the support of Russia and Iran, I think he will not be staying in power or in presidency. But as long as there is outside players who support him, whenever Assad lose the power, they support him again and give him the authority, give him the power again and again. So in my opinion, he will stay for a long time. I don't know till when, but he is staying as long as there is outside supporters that support the presence of Assad in the region.
And clearly, this triggered a lot of humanitarian crisis. And Syrian refugees crisis was one of the biggest events of the decade. So one of the most memorable images that broke everyone's heart, even mine, had to be the death of Alan Kurdi or Alan Shanu. And it was really heartbreaking, and he was reported to be only 3 years old. The images of his lifeless body laying face down on the beach, on the Turkish beach, started a global outcry. So, which should have started way to begin with. So, how has it been since then for the Syrian refugees? Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's broke all our hearts, but still the same. The suffering is still the same. And also, a few days ago, a boat sank in the sea, carrying most Syrian refugees seeking for life outside Syria or Lebanon as well. So the scenes repeated again. A boat sank in the sea. Many of them are died, and also many of them are missing right now. So, yeah, it's still almost the same about refugees.
And what about you? How do you think it's been for the Syrian refugees?
Actually, Syrian refugees now, we are talking about almost 14 million refugees in the surrounding states around Syria and in other countries. When we are talking about the refugees, we are talking about Alan, we are talking about the people who were died without any camera shooting them. Any refugee, he has like a comparative between the old life that he is currently living and the future which he doesn't know anything about it, including dying in the sea, including shooting in the borders. Many borders, especially in Europe currently, they are shooting refugees, which is prohibited.
Yeah.
But yeah, until now it is done. What we are seeing is that just very like a small sample of what's happening.
And now that you said there's over 40 million Syrian refugees, Bashar intends to convince Syrian refugees to return. Is that happening?
No?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll dive deeper on your no right after this when we return, and we'll take a short commercial break. Hello, guys. I'm Atira, and we're back on Fireside Chat for Syria Still Under Fire, where today we were talking about how Bashar intends to convince Syrian refugees to return, and however, you said no with a simple, short answer. But we want to know why. Why would you say no?
Yeah, what's happening now in Syria is not is not convincing us, even the other refugees in different kind of states around Syria, to return back. The economic is very bad. The human rights are very bad. The kind of humanity in Syria is very bad. Until now, the security apparatus are dealing with people in a way that is harder than the what was done before. Yeah, we don't believe that what's happening now in Syria is better. If Assad was, yeah, maybe was hidden, was removed from the power, yeah, the people may return to their homes. But until now, yeah, why they are coming back? All other countries are better than Syria. For example, anybody, anyone from the outsiders want to come back to Syria, he should pay $100 in the airport. Why that? Because he is like foreign. So yeah, what is the state kind of state that dealing with their people to pay when they come back home?
It's not supposed to
It
happen
yeah,
because that's your country, your home country, right?
yeah. So we should pay the bill.
Yeah.
It is not that logic.
Sorry for interruption, but any Syrian would like to come back. I'm in Turkey. I know many Syrians. They say, but you cannot go because since 2011 there are more than 100,000 persons have been missing. So I know many cases came back from Turkey to their hometown in Syria, and they are still missed until now. So he's saying, come back, I will not do anything. Just he doesn't do anything, Assad, about it. Just put them in custody, in jail, and you are missing. So you cannot imagine the pain. The pain of death, we can imagine it because everyone gonna die. But the pain of missed is unmeasurable. You cannot even imagine it because you know that the person who's died, he's in Jannah and in Allah mercy. But whenever any person is missing, he's being tortured. And also human rights said that everyone has to get back. Everyone got back to his hometown in Syria has been abused, has been tortured from the regime or its militia as well. So he trying to convince them, but he's not showing any symptoms that he will not do anything unless he can reveal or take out the people from jail. That, as I mentioned, more than 100,000 of people are still in jail or missed since 2011.
And the fact that their human rights have been taken away. And from what I understand that in Syria, half of the primary healthcare system remains offline. So families are forced to either delay vaccinations or take long trips if they can afford for healthcare. So how are the people in Syria recovering from COVID, for example? Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah, the Red Cross and Red Crescent, they try to help in this issue and delivering some vaccines to Syrian people, even in the regime areas at least. But unfortunately, it's still beyond, way down our expectation, and the disaster over there needs more than this. Even some countries try to send some vaccines to help the Syrian over there, but still there is almost 12 million person or people in Syria need not only medical care, even medical assistance. The whole system is totally collapsed, and as many NGOs trying, even in Malaysia or in higher, as we are in Turkey, as Higher Capillary Association, many of them are trying to support this issue, especially in the northern side of Syria, where we can find the Turkey government has built many hospitals to participate in supporting people through health care or health assistance. Also, some Malaysian NGOs has contributed a mobile health clinic that goes through the camps to give medication and treatment to the people who has special disease or chronic disease. They cannot afford going to far away to go to the hospital or something. So there has been many solutions from NGOs, from Turkish government as well, but still the needs is more than that.
And that your association provides all the medical aid, donations, and in Malaysia, we always see our local NGOs asking for donations to give monetary aid and clothes to Syrians. How bad is the winter in Syria, especially towards the end of the year? We always see people asking for donations in Malaysia. So we want to know, like, is it like the harsh winter weather, and how is it exactly?
Yeah, actually, Syria is one of the coldest states in the region in the winter. Every year, there are some cases of children who are dying from the winter cold. Now, when we are talking about the crisis in the winter, you should imagine the case that over a million are living in million people are living in camps. These camps are very weak, consisting of very weak tents. Every year, these tents should be rehabilitated, should be repaired in terms of the isolation of water or snow, in terms of the keeping the worm inside. Yeah, when we are talking about that, we are talking about human being that they were used to living in very normal conditions. Imagine, for example, like a family, they were living in a home, in normal life. Actually, in a very sudden moment, they came into a tent which has no toilet, which has no kitchen, no electricity, nothing but a tent. At that time, yeah, we have many cases, yeah, were died, especially from the children. Yeah, each year, the UN and the UN agencies are trying to mitigate the winter harsh by replacing tents, but this is not a solution because every year. So nowadays, some local NGOs and in cooperation with other NGOs like the Malaysian ones are trying to build concrete housing units to avoid the crisis in the winter. It is not that easy, but we believe that in the cooperation between all parties and all NGOs, yeah, they will achieve something in terms of the recovery of.
Okay. So, like, how do we know that our donations are being channeled to the Syrians? Because we worry that it could possibly be a scam that preys on our generosity, and we always have that assumption that is this the right donation? Is this legit? So, what do you think about that?
As we in Turkish or in Higher Capillary Association, I guess the same is happening over here, that there is each 3 months we provide these reports and videos and documentation of the project to the government and also to the donor himself. So if you have any doubt, just you can ask about the reports of your donation, where the donation, it's gone, and how many beneficiaries from this and that. Also, the government have some supervision about this issue. We have almost each 3 years we have to submit this report to the government. If we didn't deliver this to the government, we will have some consequences. We will not afford it, of course. So the government has its contribution to this issue in order to assure that the money is going to the right place, to the right person. And also, as a donor, you can ask for your report, for your documentation, just to make sure that the donation done right. And also, I've heard, and I have many delegations coming from Malaysia to Syria, just to see and to observe by themselves what's the project in Syria. So I guess, especially in Malaysia, you need to be relaxed about this issue, because I know some organizations have been to Syria for more than 20 times. In 10 years, they went there for more than 20 times just to check the progress of the project that they have over there, just to be sure that the money is going to the right person, to the right place.
And there was also the issue with of the white helmets, and they were officially known as the Syria Civil Defense Volunteer Organization that operates in parts of opposition-controlled Syria and also in Turkey. So there was a lot of misinformation and online propaganda about this. We want to know what truly happened there from the both of you.
Yeah, actually, the White Helmets are a volunteering NGO, was founded in Turkey, and it is operating in Syria. The regime is trying to to attack in them every time, including Bashar himself. Why? Because they have very good voice in Europe and the US. The White Helmets are very known in terms of the very quick response to the crisis that happening in terms of the shelling, in terms of floods, in terms of winter snowing or raining. Yeah, we believe that they are doing a great job, but the regime is always trying to attacking them to make their image in the on the people basis, yeah, very very bad. But actually, yeah, they are good and they are making a great job.
What about you, Musab?
Yeah, I emphasize about what he said, and also they are, as I know, they are civilian people who has a well background about helping society or community in the disasters, and they help the society in Syria in the crisis, and also they reveal the truth of the war to the even Europe or to any other countries. So they are doing what they can to help and support the society in crisis, of course.
Speaking of support, what has the OIC and the UN has done for Syria and in hopes of peace and stability? Could you share with us about that, Musa?
Yes, please. They are trying to help. Just maybe months ago, they signed an agreement to help the displaced and refugees in northern Syria or in Syria. But as I mentioned, the crisis is bigger than what they are trying to do. So, but as for the OIC and UN agency, they're trying to help as much as they can. Also, the country of this union, such as Malaysia, Kuwait, and many other countries, they are trying to help through even the NGOs, local NGOs in Malaysia or in Turkey as well, to support these people, these refugees. We are talking about more than 12 million people needs this help. So they're trying to support as much as they can, also through the local NGOs as well.
For you, Muhammad, do you think there is more that can be done by these associations?
Yeah, actually, now we should have a permanent solution or a long-term solution. When we are talking about refugees, many bad practices are happening in terms of the hard life that they are living in. So we try in Ata Relief to work in both ways of response. The first way is to respond in the very urgent needs that the people need. For example, food, water, health, education. At the same time, we are working on the other hand, on the second way, to implement the sustainable projects that give us and give the people the job opportunities, give them some infrastructure rehabilitation, some services like electricity, water, gas, whatever that they can make, it can make their lives better. Yeah, so we cannot talk about the current UN agencies is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very important. And on the other hand, we should think and implement some strategical projects.
Okay. So do you think the political angle could influence that in a long-term solution as well?
Again, please. Again.
Sorry, do you think that the political influence could help the long-term solution?
Yeah, political point of view, we're talking about outsiders. Whenever there are outsiders, there could be not, let's say, strategical solution, as he mentioned. In order to have this good influence about UN, OIC, or even the NGOs themselves to appear that the support is over there, we need to have political settlement before talking about it, inshallah.
Okay, before we end our discussion, what is your message to the people watching Syria through the screen? What can you say to them?
Yeah, actually, Malaysian people have very interesting point that should be mentioned in. All Malaysian people like to see their donations and their generosity is implemented in the right way and to the right person. And in this context, you may see some Malaysian NGOs from time to time, they go and visit Syria and implement their donations by themselves. As Mus'ab mentioned, some NGOs visited Syria more than 20 times. And yeah, we believe that this is the right thing to ensure that your money is not missing, to ensure that your money is going to the right person and at the right time. Because if you give someone a dressing after the winter, yeah, there's no meaning for that. At the right time should be in the most time that this people and this person is needing is needing for. Yeah, we are talking about very special crisis. Maybe you are not seeing this as much as humanitarian people are in need. Yeah, but we should invest more.
What about you, Musa? What is your message to the people who are seeing Syria through the screen?
Uh, I would say just believe in your local NGOs. They are trying to help more than they can. If you have any doubt, just ask about it. If you have any doubt about the money is misused, let's say, just ask about it. Ask about some reports. Not only in Syria, the local NGOs are traveling to Syria only for charity, traveling to any other, as you discussed earlier in the last week, we discussed about the Uyghur issues. They're traveling every way, even in Pakistan, in Afghanistan. They are trying to help in every conflict, and also they're trying to be there just to make sure that just to trust to make the donors trust about their donations. One more thing, we are approaching to the winter, and in Turkey last year we had a storm, snowing storm. Myself, I experienced it myself. We went there just for 3 kilometers. I had to walk. All the transportation has been stopped. I had to walk for 3 kilometers only. Then I had all the winter material. I have my jacket. I have my shoes. I have everything. I'm well prepared for this storm. But when I reach my home, my knees, I cannot feel my knee. I cannot feel my foot. Imagine it for only 3 kilometers. How about the people who is living in the storm? They have their tents destroyed because of the snow. Last winter, we had almost more than 600 camps has been destroyed because of the storm. Also, there is 79% of the families over there, their income, monthly income, only not exceeding $50 per month. With $50, if you have one child, you cannot even get him a proper jacket or something. So
that is,
my message to them: believe in your local NGOs. They are traveling everywhere just to gain your trust, just to show you that you're going to the right place, to the right person as well.
That is truly heartbreaking to hear, actually, and the fact that we had to see it through the screen. But then, like, that is, I believe that is all the time that we have for the discussion. But remember, the conversation on Syria and other war-torn countries never stops, and there needs to be a solution for peace. We hope and pray it is achieved in the near future rather than later. And also, we would like to thank Muhammad and Mustafa for coming over to a fireside chat. And do follow us on all social media platforms, sinardaily.my. And I'm Atira Minuddin. Thank you for watching.